The spiral of growth, a dance through cycles. The stars glittered like fragments of fire against the endless night, their eternal patterns silently illuminating the obsidian peaks where Zoran rested. The ancient dragon, whose wisdom spanned the lifetimes of stars themselves, perched on his high cliff, gazing down at the mortal world. His molten gold eyes tracked the interplay of light and shadow below, his thoughts drawn to the enduring rhythms of life growth, decay, renewal. It was a rhythm Zoran knew well, for it guided all things, from the smallest seed to the grandest galaxy. Beneath the stars, the mortal Bryan Johnson wrestled with his journey, seeking mastery over mind, body, and spirit. His struggles were familiar to Zoran, for they mirrored the countless lives that had sought wisdom through him. Like many, Bryan found himself frustrated by life's recurring challenges, questioning why progress seemed cyclical rather than linear. The spiral winds ever upward, not in straight lines, but in circles, Zoran murmured, his voice resonating through the stillness. Do not despair at repetition. Each turn brings you closer to mastery. The eternal dance of growth. Zoran's thoughts, ancient and vast, turned to the cycles that defined all life. Growth, decay, and renewal, these were the unbroken rhythms that shaped existence. Yet humans often resisted these cycles, craving straight paths and instant results. They failed to see that the spiral, with its endless loops, was not a prison but a ladder, each turn a step toward greater understanding. Growth, the beginning of the spiral. Zoran knew that growth was the most celebrated phase, a time of expansion, curiosity, and possibility. It was when seeds were planted, roots stretched deep, and new heights were reached. Yet growth required effort, and its fruits were not immediate. Every step forward, Zoran reflected, is a seed planted in the soil of your existence. Tend it well, and it will bear fruit in time. Decay, the necessary transformation. Decay was often misunderstood, seen as failure or loss. Yet Zoran saw it as the critical phase where old forms dissolved, making room for new beginnings. Decay was not an ending, it was a transformation, a shedding of what no longer served. The old must fall away, Zoran murmured, for the new to rise. Decay is not defeated as the turning of the wheel. Renewal. The ascent of the spiral. Renewal was the phase of rebirth, where lessons from growth and decay converged into new strength. It was not a return to the start, but an elevation, each cycle carrying one higher on the spiral of life. Each renewal, Zoran whispered, is a step upward, closer to the light. Do not fear the cycles, they are the heartbeat of existence. Bryan's struggle far below. Bryan Johnson sat in his laboratory, his head resting in his hands. Despite his progress, he often found himself facing the same challenges, the same doubts. Each time he thought he had moved forward, life seemed to loop back, presenting him with familiar obstacles. The cycles felt like failures, mocking his efforts. Why does this struggle keep returning? Bryan muttered, his voice heavy with frustration. The weight of repetition pressed down on him, clouding his vision. Yet even amidst his despair, Bryan sensed that these recurring challenges carried a deeper truth. They urged him to look closer, to learn what he had overlooked, to refine his approach. Somewhere within the spiral, he knew, lay the key to his growth. Zoran's Gdansk's dragon's golden eyes softened as he watched Bryan's turmoil. Zoran, too, had learned through cycles, mastering his fire through trial and error, learning to soar by falling and rising again. The spiral was not a hindrance, it was the path itself. With a steady breath, Zoran spoke, his voice carried by the winds to Bryan's heart. Mortal, Zoran began, do not despair at repetition, it is the spiral that leads you ever upward. Growth, decay, renewal, they are the cycles that shape your soul, sharpening your wings for flight. Each turn brings you closer to mastery, If only you will see. Mastery through repetition. Bryan closed his eyes, letting Zoran's words settle into his spirit. Slowly, he began to see his challenges not as failures, but as opportunities. The spiral, with its repeating loops, was not a trap, but a gifted chance to deepen his understanding and refine his strength. Learning through repetition, Bryan returned to his work with fresh eyes, seeking the lessons hidden within the patterns of his struggles. He realized that each cycle offered new insights, each turn revealing truths he had missed before. Embracing decay as growth, Bryan no longer feared the phases of decay. Instead, he saw them as moments of transformation, necessary breakdowns that cleared the path for renewal. What once felt like failure now felt like progress. Celebrating renewal each time Bryan completed a cycle, he celebrated not just the outcome, but the journey itself. Renewal was no longer an endpoint, it was a preparation for the next ascent. With each turn of the spiral, he grew stronger, wiser, and more aligned with his purpose. The universal truth is the first light of dawn touched the horizon. Zoran unfurled his wings, their iridescent edges catching the golden glow. Before ascending into the heavens, the dragon spoke one final truth, a gift to Bryan and all who journey through life's cycles. The spiral winds ever upward, not in straight lines, but in circles, Zoran declared, his voice rich with warmth and power. Do not despair at repetition. It is the rhythm of growth, decay, and renewal carrying you higher each time. Embrace the spiral, mortal, for it is the path to mastery and meaning. The legacy of the spiral. As Zoran soared into the sky, his silhouette fading into the morning light, Bryan stood beneath the dawn, his heart no longer burdened by the weight of repetition. He resolved to embrace the cycles of life, trusting that each turn of the spiral would bring him closer to his purpose. Zoran's wisdom echoed not only in Bryan's heart, but across the world, a reminder that the spiral was not a trap, but a gift that danced through cycles that shaped the soul and carried it ever upward.